Experiences and career insights of U.S. Navy Chief Engineer David Taylor. We talk memorable adventures and tense close calls on the high seas and what makes a good commanding officer. We also delve into some of the Navy's most pressing and controversial issues. These include a mix of the service's top procurement programs, some of which Taylor worked on directly, such as the Electromagnetic Aircraft Launch Systems, EMALS, and the DDG-1000 stealth destroyer, during his tenure as a civilian official at Philadelphia Naval Shipyard. From near-friendly fire incidents, to horrendous storms, to how to fix the Navy's core problems, to the questionable need for literal combat ships, we cover it all. And just as you probably imagine any salty Navy chief engineer should be, Taylor's commentary is blunt, bold and unafraid. The first few months in the Indian Ocean were hectic times. There were two battle groups there, the Midways and the Kitty Hawks, to which we were attached. We were there, I believe, to get the Iranians to attack us so that we could introduce them to the potentialities inherent in naval aviation. We were vectoring fighters to visually identify every aircraft that came anywhere close to the airspace above us. One such intercept was of a large, slow patrol craft heading westward from Karachi along the coast. As the pilot saw the F-4s from Midway approaching him, we heard him exclaim over the military air distress frequency, in a very British accent, "Don't shoot. Don't shoot. I am Pakistani." He must not have trusted his identification friend of 4 IFF system that much. During this period of operations I held the Tactical Action Officer watch. The Tactical Action Officer, TAO, is a position that recognizes that crews may not have time to wake and brief the CO before a Soviet SSN-7 missile flies up your stern. So, after a rigorous school and shipboard qualification, limited weapons release authority was granted to the TAO without the CO's permission. A pair of F-14s were vectored out to identify an aircraft flying from the Arabian mainland, heading directly over us to the Kitty Hawk. One of the pilots called it Tally-Ho, and identified the plane as a camouflaged F-4. The correlation circuitry in my forebrain went into overdrive. Midway has F-4s. There are the F-4s we gave the Iranians at Bandar Abbas. Midways are gray. The Iranians are, maybe camouflaged? I hit the general quarters alarm. I had never seen us get to battle stations quicker. It was the real thing. Now, the Spruance-class destroyer was not, in anyone's imagination, an anti-air warfare, AAW, platform. We had a pretty good gun, with a good fire control system and Sea Sparrow missiles, good only for targets coming right at you. And this one was. In AAW, because of the high-speed nature of planes and missiles, a philosophy of command by negation was frequently invoked. That meant, if you had a shot at a hostile aircraft, you did not wait for direction or permission to shoot. You merely announced over the AAW net that you were going to shoot and with what weapon. If Alpha Whiskey, the AAW commander, did not tell you to hold fire, you shot. The bogey continued down our throat. The captain had just made it to CIC and I had picked up the radio mic and had drawn breath to say, "Taking Vampire Delta with guns and missiles," when our fighter jock came back over the control circuit and said, wait, it's an Omani Jaguar." I don't know when I had a bigger pucker factor, just before I almost released weapons or later when we were told that the plane was piloted by a Royal Air Force major, seconded to the Sultan of Oman, flying the nephew of said Sultan out to look at the big ships. We were caught in a typhoon that blew up out of nowhere. My roommate and I were the only deck officers physically capable of standing a watch. I slept in Combat Information Center while he had the deck and vice versa. The seas were so high that the entire forecastle up to the break would disappear into an oncoming wave and then lift clear out of the water, exposing our rather large sonar dome as the wave passed down the length of the ship. Remember that the Spruance class was the size of a World War II cruiser. During the storm, as officer on duty, I was amidships on the bridge, hanging desperately onto the cable that was strung from port to starboard especially for that purpose. An extremely heavy roll to port caused me to lose my right hand grip, spinning me around with my left hand as the pivot point until I was facing aft. As the roll eased, my eye caught the inclinometer mounted on the aft bulkhead. It showed a 50-degree roll, meaning that we had rolled beyond that. The worst things about heavy weather are exhaustion and starvation. Exhaustion because you are constantly bracing against pitch and roll, and even in the rack it is